this was the data set I sent, and I would bring out the, let me see, where is the cleaned version? So this is the, um, hopefully the cleaned version is here. Yep. So there are two versions of this data set. I sent the one which is still very messy. So this one is a cleaned version. And what we want to be able to replicate is we want to extract the name of the author, the narrator, the time. So we're going to convert the time, which is a text, to a numeric number. And then we're also going to do this with the change this date because it's not in a uniform format. Then extract this one for the stars and then the rating before we then move it into Power BI to visualize the data. Okay. All right. So let's get going. So what I've done here is to replicate the headers, first of all, in these data sets to at least give us an idea. Now, for somebody who might not be a beginner, some of the functions that I would use may be a bit unfamiliar to you. So it's helpful that you have it's not like I'm not expecting um, a full background knowledge, but just at least if you have any questions or anything, you can prompt me and I will slow down a bit if I'm too fast, okay? All right, so the first one, which is the name, we're not doing any cleansing on the name, so I would just do an equals to for this one, first of all, since I'm not doing anything here, I would take this, just copy everything on that place there. So I have everything in that column copied. Now, the next one I want to do is the author. So I want to extract the author. And what I'm going to use is it's a text after. That's the function in Excel. So that's equals to text after. So what the text after would do is to, if you take a text and then you want to separate it, you want to get a part of that text using a delimiter. So a delimiter would be any character that you are looking for within a string or within a text. So the delimiter here in this illustration is the colon that is here. So I want to extract just the colon from the text here. So I put that in a quotation mark to put the, if you put just a colon like that, it will give you it will return an error. So what you can do would be put the text before, then after you put the comma, put the quotation mark and then your colon and then close it off. And that's the name. So I've extracted the author's name. Okay, and that's it. The next one is the name of the narrator's name, which is basically the same. And I would do similar with that. So that's a bit straightforward. Now, where it's a bit tricky is this one. Now, in this instance, what we want to do is, like we had in the clean file, we want to change the time from this text to minutes. So that would mean that where there is 2 hours like this, I would need to multiply 2 by 60. And then where there is 20, multiply it to, I won't be multiplying 20, so I'm just going to add the 2 of them to give me the minutes. Now, normally I would have started writing an Excel query, but because, as I said, why not work smart? If you have the tool available, you can work smart. The most important thing is understanding how to write a logic in Excel, sorry, in using ChatGPT or Gemini that would help you achieve it, and then testing what it has written. So I will take this as an illustration. So here I can see that we have 6 hours, 35 minutes, 7 minutes, 1 hour, 10 minutes. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to use that to write a prompt in ChatGPT to say, I want to format this. Now, interestingly, if you come here, if you explore GPT, just for those who might not be familiar with it, you would see that there is also a tool. You have different versions of the tools here. There is a data analyst tool here, where if you drop the file, it can help you do some scripting, though I think there's a limit to it. So maybe we could try this one as a plugin and let's see what it would give us from ChatGPT. So if I say, what I'm going to say is this, write a function in Excel that will convert the numbers below to minutes. Okay, so let's see what I don't want to use, not this. All right, so I'll drop that in and let's see what it says. So here it's now giving me a logic. Let me zoom in a bit. Let's see, okay, I've moved it to, all right, great. All right, fantastic. So if you look at it now, using the data analyst side of it, the plugin there, what I've done is I've dropped that formula here, and then it's written a function for me to be able to test it and say, okay, 6 hours, 35 minutes, and I want to convert that to just minutes. And it's giving me a standard. Now, what I can then do is I just simply, it's pretty straightforward anyway. But it's important that sometimes, as I said, having a base understanding is very helpful, because if there's an error with what has been written here, you may not fully be able to decipher or debug what the problem is. But I guess over time, you get one gets more familiar with how to use it. So I'll copy that. And then I'll drop it here. So that's equals to, so I have to change where it's referencing. So if you look at it, what it's doing is left A1. So it's referencing the cell A1. So I have to pick that and drop that here. Pick that here and drop it here. Pick that, drop all of them here. Same thing. Okay, so it's doing that for everything. So let me just copy all of them. Okay, all right, so let's test it and see. All right, fantastic. So if you can see here, is we've been able to convert this to minutes, and then I will double click, just do a flash fill to see if there's any error. All right, so I can see that here there is an error, and then I need to go back to ChatGPT with that response to say, okay, there's an exception in this. So let me just check how many exceptions there are before going into it. So that way I can do exception handling at a go instead of going back and forth. All right, so yeah, so these are the exceptions that we can see here, and it's now to query why is this happening the way it's happening. So if I just copy this ones here and then say, let me return that, go back here and say query is returning value in some of the responses. For example, these two. So let me just copy this. For example, when this function was applied to the to these below, it returned value. Okay. All right. So rewrite the query to debug this issue. All right. So let's see what it comes back with. So we'll try and be fast with that. Okay, so the issue assumes that the original, so it gives you the reason. The issue assumes that the original formula assumes presence of HR and in the text when the input contains only minutes. So it will search for HR and then search for and will result in an error, causing the formula to return a value. So what it's doing is, if you look at that, that's why I said sometimes having an understanding. What the search function in Excel will do is that it will search within a text, and then it is looking for this inside it. So originally, if we look at what we were searching for HR. So it searched for, let's check this one here. Okay, so it searched for HR, and then also for and will result in an error. So if I'm going to correct that, so what it does is to fix improvement and ensure there exists. So it will then put a space before the and, because there was no space before the and in the previous one, because it had narrowed it down to just and. So it will search for an and that has a space before and after, and then handles any X minus cases. So where there is no, so if there is no hour, it extracts the number before the minutes correctly. All right. So let's see how this goes. This time, if I copy this formula now, and I just copy that. So let's undo this, clear the filter, and I will paste that formula here. Okay. Yes. So let me see. Why is this returning 0? Oh, okay. Sorry, because I'm referencing the wrong place. So, so if I return, why not just do this one? So hopefully. So let me do Control H. So what I'm going to look for, I want to look for all the A1s. So look for A1 and then return D1. So let's see if that works. So replace all. Okay. Oh, no, sorry. It's I put it in the, let's see, it's supposed to be D2. Sorry, Control H. So I'm going to replace D1 now. So I'm looking for D1 and then I replace it with D2. And then let me also fine tune that here, replace all. Okay. All right, so let's see, this is fine here. This is still returning an error here. So let's see what that problem is. So if, so left search hours, blah, blah, blah. So it's actually coming from here. So all I need to do is check what is coming back. So I can go back here or I can debug it myself. So if I come back here and look at it and I see this is supposed to be, okay. So I just add another scenario. Scenario is where you have 10 hours. Okay, so that's 10 hours. Factor this into the new function that was written. All right. All right. So it's going to do that, blah, 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 blah. So I just need to copy that. I don't need too much while it's doing that. So let's get this here and we paste that here and we should, am I getting D1 again? Okay, so I need to replace that Control H. So replace A1 with D2 and replace for all. Oh, okay, so I think because this is, okay, so let me just do that for here. Replace A1 to let me replace with this one. All right, so I'll just do that for that one alone. All right, great. All right, so I think that's about it. So we've gotten that sorted out for that column. And then we can move to the next column, which is the release date. Now for the release date, it's similar to that one. So let me see how many minutes. So let me check how we're doing with time. Okay, so we're still good. Now for the release date, you would see that there are two formats here. One is the standard one, while this is a while this is not standardized. Now in this illustration, you would need to use you could use the text before, text after, and then include it with a date parameter to change this to standardize it. So all I'll just do is here, I'll copy these two. There's also a scenario that I had seen in the file. So let me just put this here. Then I would also need to get one more. I think there was one I saw that was in the 90s. I just want to look for that one so that I can get a sample for the 90s date as well. And then that way it covers every date, possible date that might come up in this data set. So, okay, so let's do this. Instead, I would select this. Let's see from the top here. Okay, is there any 1990? I just want to be sure that there is nothing in the 90s that is in this data set before I go ahead to standardize it. Okay, so this is 20, 18, 16. Okay, bear with me, almost there, just doing a sense. Okay, yeah, so this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so so I need to first check what's happening here. So this is 1999, okay? All right. But there's no issue with this because this is a regular date. So I don't think I should have a problem with this one. All right, so I think I'm fine there. And then I just need to give a prompt on that one to say, here I would go ahead with that. All right, so write a function to standardize the dates in the release date column in Excel. The two date variants are below, which need to be standardized to day, month, and then year. All right. Okay, so I'll just drop that in now. And once I've dropped that, it would give me a function that I can then use to standardize that. All right, so let's get this, and then we go back to here, and then I will put that in. Okay, so I need to find and replace again. So let's do find and replace. So I want to replace all A1, this time with E2. Okay, so I've replaced that. What is... Okay, so this should be supposed to be E2. It's not giving me what I want. Let's see. Okay, since I'm not getting that, I can write this out. It shouldn't take too long anyway to write something here. So what I basically want is number. All right, so I want to check if this is a number. That's the first thing I would do. So if that's a number, that's true. The next thing I would then say is, so let me leave that one. So I will come to this one because this is where the most of the work really is. Here, what I would need to do is, usually as I always believe, is if you're trying to write a code, instead of writing everything at a stretch, when you're doing some analysis, you can start by writing them in little bits, and then after you've written them in little bits, you can start adding all of them together. That way, it makes it a lot easier for a person to be able to do the analysis without getting confused along the way. So if I were to do that, what I can do here is to say, okay, I want the first number in this text, first of all. So this is, the first one is text. So I want to get text before, and I want to get the text before. The delimiter here is the dash. I want to get the text before the dash. That's fine. The next one is the text. So I'm going to get the text before or text after this time. So the text after the dash is what I'm looking for here. And then I get that here. Now, because this has given me two numbers, what I want to do is I want to extract the number before this next dash. So what I can do then is I've gotten this one as the text after, which is this. I would then wrap it around a text for. Okay. All right. So if I wrap it around the text before, what's the delimiter I'm looking for? I'm looking for the dash again. And then I put that. So you can see I've gotten my my month. And then the last one I want is the text after again. I'll do that a second time. The text after. And then the delimiter this time is the same thing, dash. But this time, what it says is instance. What's the instance number, or what's the occurrence number? Now, if you look at this date, there is a first occurrence here, and then there's a second occurrence. So I want it to give me the text after the second occurrence of that dash. And I put 2 here, and I close that off. So you can see it's giving me the date. Now, the next thing I'll just do here is to add 2000, because I can see that all the dates are in the 2000, the ones that were not in the same format. So, all right, so this is my date here. And then the last part would be to use the date function. So the date function would be, so if I were to do that, I would copy this first of all. Let's start here. And then I will put this here, and then comma. The next thing I would do is, this is the month. I will copy the month as well. And then I will come back here. Okay, what happened here? Okay, so I'll go back and copy that. So let me copy this first part of it. So this is the year. All right, so I've gotten the year part of it. Okay, and then the last part is the month. And then I just copy the month part of it. All right, so this is all of it here. And then, okay, so what I then need to do is to put the date. So is equals to date. So you can see this is the year. This is the month here. and then this is the day finally, and then I close that off, and I should have my date. All right, so this is my date here. Now, the next part, so that I can get the date out quickly, is to say, all right, so if this is a number, I would then use an if function to say this is a number, return the date. However, if it is not a number, use this formula to give me the date inside there. So let me just copy this quickly, and then I will do that. So I just quickly say that if this is a number, then give me this back. However, if it is not a number, give me this. And then I do that. So sorry, it's giving me number. So I need to change this format here to a date. All right, so I have a date there, and then I run that across. So let's see why. Oh, okay. I think I see. I see what's happening here. So I need to move all of this here. Okay. All right. So I think we should be good here for that one. Okay. So I have a few exceptions. Okay. Why is, I thought I had standardized everything. So hold on. Let me delete the dates because I'm sure it's referencing something else. So, okay. Hold on. Let me just see. Why is this is supposed to be the date? Okay, no, sorry, bear with me. Okay, so if E2, 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 so everything should be E2, so nothing is fixed. Hold on, so it should be fine. Let's see. All right, great, fantastic. Okay, so there we have it. We have the release date. All right, release date, which is here. We should almost be done with the cleansing for this one, and then we can go quickly into Power BI, where we would then start putting the data. For the language, in the language section, what I had seen looking at the data is that it's not completely standardized across board, because you would notice that for some of them you have Hindi in capital letters, while for some others like English had the first letter in caps. So what we can quickly do there would be to say equals to proper. Now, when you're using proper in Excel, what it does is that it capitalizes the first letter. So I reference that cell, and then I do that to quickly. I've done that. I standardize it across board. And then the last thing I need to do is the stars. So for the stars, I'm going to split this into the stars and then into the ratings. Okay. Stars, and then, okay, price. I'll leave price and then rating. Okay, so let me just confirm how we're doing with time. All right, so I'll try and be fast with this. So what we need to now do here is to say, I want the text before out. So I would come here and say text before, and then this is where I'm looking at, and then what's the delimiter? The delimiter is the space and out here, and then I will take that. All right, so you can see it's giving me 5. So I think I need to add. I need to add. Okay, no, don't worry. I'll leave that because it's not a numeric field. Now, what you would notice is that there are some places where you see NA, which is this is not rated. So because it's not rated, it's returning NA. Now, to make it easier, what I would simply need to do is to say if there's a function in Excel which is if not applicable. That's if you get that message, then return this answer. However, if the value is NA, or rather, if NA, first of all, return this value. If, however, the value is still NA, I'll return a 0. And that's what I'll put there. And I would run that again across. Okay, and you can see that it's taking care of the 0 here. Now, one thing to note in Excel is that when you see a number usually aligned by default to the left, where you've not done any alignment, that will tell you that that's a text. However, like this one now, you can see it's aligned to the right, and that tells you that this is a number. So what I can do quickly here to make sure that it's aligned to the right is that I just need to add +0 to this, and that should take care of it. All right, so I've done that, and we're good there. For the pricing is the same thing. I will just put that pricing here, do the pricing, and then the last one is the rating. So in the ratings field, what we want to do is to get the last set of numbers after the stars. That's what we want to do. So I want to get anything after stars before rating. So what I can do is to say, I can say text after. All right, so I can say the text after. Okay, so I made a mistake here. Text after. So I come here, text after. What am I saying is after? After stars. Okay. All right, so you see, it's giving me the text after the stars, and then what I want is I want the text before the rating. So I just wrap that around again, text before, and then come back here, text before. What's my delimiter this time? My delimiter is the space and then the ratings, and I close that off. And I have my number, my ratings here. If I add +0 to it just to make it a number here, and I think that's about, okay, sorry, put it up in the wrong place. Okay, so I think it should be after +0. Okay, all right, that's about it. Okay, and there we have it. Now you see the same thing happen here because it's not rated. So I would come back here and say if any, if it's NA, it will give me this value. However, if the value is actually NA, return 0. Okay, so I do that and we're all good here. All right. Okay, so that's about it. So if you look at it in a nutshell, we've spent roughly around, say, 20 to 30 minutes trying to clean this data to prepare it for what we are going to be doing in Power BI. And that's a combination of using using ChatGPT and then some base knowledge of how some functions in Excel work, so that way it makes our work more efficient. Ordinarily, this is something that might have taken, say, a whole day trying to figure out how you do exception handling for columns like this, and then possibly even this column as well. But with the help of ChatGPT, we've been able to get that sorted quickly.